Okay, I thought I would just show some highlights, what we've done for Update 2 in the newest release of MineScape 2021. The first thing you'll see is we've got a news tab now at the start page, and what we want to try to do with this is keep everyone informed of what's happening with MineScape, and also we'd like to use this for you guys, the users, so you can send us information and we'll get it posted for you. So if we go into the project, what I want to show you is we've added a couple things in RapidCAD. You know, we're always trying to improve RapidCAD. If I just start a line and then hit the tab to get into the quick input box, and I can pull down, we've added a delta XYZ. And what this is going to do for you is give you the delta distance or whatever from that point where you're anchored. So now you can actually cycle the delta, so you can go X, Y, or Z. So if I do X, and if I just lock in a value, say 500, and just lock it. So now when I move the mouse around, it's actually a delta of 500, this case meters, from my point. So every one of these are a delta. Okay, the other one we've done is if I start a line again, and then I go in here and I want to insert some vertices. So just hit the space bar to pull down and insert vertices this way. Now we've added a custom Z. So now you can enter Z values, whatever Z value you want here. So if I wanted to put this at 100, say, for example, and then I could just start keying in value or keying in vertices. So now all those vertices right there, if we look it down at the status, it's 100. So now we have that option to do custom Z values on an element. The other one we've done or added is how many times have people wanted to come into their design file and create new layers. And, you know, we made a change and we took the OK and apply button off because we thought you just want one layer for right. Now you can actually create multiple layers and use the apply button. So that's going to make it, that's a big improvement. The other one is, you know, a lot of times what people do is, as an example, I have these prisms. And if you notice, you know how layers are, the layers are in alphabetical order. Once you turn on layers, you come down here in the display and you start moving them around and getting them in the right order. So now under display, we've got a display list. You can open one that's previously created, or you can save a display list by design file. So I already have one created and it's called prisms. So I'll just load those up. If you notice that my prisms in my design file layer are in alphabetical order, these are the order I want the prisms done in my display. So now you have the opportunity to go ahead and bring your own list in after you've adjusted it. And again, you know, you put them in the order, or you can take some of these on, turn them on and off. So it's a really good feature. It should save a lot of time. We've also added some functionality up in the dynamic slicing area. So while I have these prisms up, I'll just go ahead and do some dynamic slicing. So if I go to the slicing, and I'm going to just go ahead and create a slice, and I'll just create one, say this way. I've created a slice that way, and of course you can just go ahead and drag whatever you want to do. And let's say I want to create another slice and I want to cut this off. So I'll create another slice. So now I can just start dragging this one also. And you know, before in the previous version of MineScape, you had to come over to the Explorer and you actually had to turn these slices off. Now you just hit the remove button and you can remove one at a time or remove all, and it takes you right back to where you need to be. So something else we've done is, so I'll show you. I'm going to make this layer current because I wanted to see where my limits are, and I'm looking around and said, okay, I want to do something here, but that line's kind of in my way. So, a lot of people, what they do is they'll hide their current layer. So now I'm just going to go ahead and start a line. And if I click on it, it tells me in the feedback, it's unable to draw to the hidden right design layer, which a lot of times people were drawn to the hidden design file layer, and then they couldn't find their data because it was hidden. So we've taken care of that. I don't know how many people use custom ribbon, but we've done an enhancement for that. And so I've built a custom ribbon, but it lives under the open cut, and it's called My Workflow. And you can see I have a handful of options on here. Well, what I'd like to do is maybe bring the contour option in and in my views. So if I go back to CAD and I want to bring contour over, so I'm just going to right mouse contour, and I'm going to say add that option to my ribbon, and my workflow, and let's go ahead and create a new group. So now if I go back to open cut, you can see it's made me a new group called graphics, but I really want to do one other one. And if you guys notice that there's a pull down, and so I've got a number of items. I can pull down every one of these and add that option to my workflow, and so on and so forth, because I really want each one of these individually. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that group, and I'm going to say explode to my ribbon. And in this case, it's my workflow, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new group. Again, you won't see my ribbon on the CAD because it's part of open cut, and I'll show you how you can set that. So now if you notice, I've exploded all those views. Now, if I really don't want these four, so I'm just going to come in and I'm going to edit my toolbar. I mean, my menu. I'll just pull up my workflow, do an edit. There's the view. And I don't want these ones. So I'm just going to highlight all those. I'm going to hit delete. So now you can see that that's been cleaned up. And again, I was mentioning that you can't see this on the CAD window because this is really all about open cut. But if you wanted to, you can change the visibility of where my workflow lives. In this case, I've just checked it onto open cut. But if you think you need it in CAD or you want to put it in a strap model, you can go ahead and select that. So that explode is new to update 2. We've also changed the way we export data to design files. Before, you used to right mouse and you'd have import and export. Well, we don't have that anymore. It has now been exposed on the home ribbon under import, under data exchange, and it says import design data, and we've broken it out by type. And also it's the same. We also have the export. So we have the import and the export of design file data now. Something else we've done is, you have the Control-C where you can copy, or this clipboard copy and paste. Well, now you can copy and paste faults, poly 3D objects, and drill hole objects. We've also added interactive filter, that supports design data. Now, we're continually improving on metadata, but I'll go ahead and show you. So if you notice in the design files how they're different colors, and if you hover over the design file name, you'll notice that this says extended design file and this says standard. Well, metadata only works with extended design file. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to open this one up. And what I've got is I've got some dumps that I've generated. And I'll turn on another layer. I have this one, topsoil locations too. But if I turn on my interactive filter and I select all. Now they'll disappear, and if you notice there, now I've got by group and different groups, dumps and topsoil. So if I highlight those, you can see where they are, and you can also just go ahead and filter based on your metadata. And metadata is pretty easy to build in. You can do manage metadata here, or you can actually select an element and go to properties if you wanted to, and you can actually give it a name and the metadata group there under properties. Now you can search your design files and layers for that information and have it on multiple layers. We've also added an expansion routine for meshes. So you can go to mesh and you can expand. I can expand this mesh by, let's say, 500 meters, okay? I'm going to expand it to 500 meters so you can see what it looks like. So all I did was take it, and what it's doing is it's just expanding this data, in this case by 500 meters. I have a polygon out here called Mesh Update Expand. And notice it's kind of an irregular shaped polygon. So if I do the expand again and I just pick the element, and now what it's going to do is expand it to that polygon in that shape and extrapolates. It's a really good feature because then you don't have to worry about merging data if you don't need it right now. Okay, there's a couple things we've done for Plot Designer. So you can have access to the variables. So if I open up Plot Designer and I open up one of the plots I've been working in, and if you notice that these are variable names, project name, plot file name, date created, and this one I'll show you, this is a local one. So if I just show hide, you can see what it's going to fill out for me. These variables are available to you. You can actually go to page setup and look at the plotting variables, or if you want to see the plotting variables available to you that you have access to in MineScape, these are the predefined and they're under the tab, but you can build your own custom variables. And I created one called cell num. So I don't have to keep typing that cell number in if I'm putting it on for notes. So I just created my own variable. And if you notice here, there's two types of variables, local and global. Local is for that particular plot file. Global means you can use that variable, and there's some predefined, but there's custom. I created one called MineSite. These are global, meaning that any new plot designer you bring up will have access to that variable. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So in this case, I have mobile number, cell phone, okay? So I'll save this. I'll just go ahead and open up another one. I'll just open up another plot designer. You can notice that I don't have that set up like I have in the other plot file. But if I go to my local variables, remember in the previous plot file, I had a local variable called cell num. Well, it's not available here because it's local for that plot file. However, the global, that's available to be shared amongst all the Plot Designer plot files. The last thing is the underground survey is now SQL Server enabled. So just like GDB, we've added SQL Server to GDB. We've also added SQL Server to the underground survey.